Hello guys, so this is the first Q&A session I'm hosting at Motoholic Works. My name is Nidhi and I'm the person behind Motoholic Works. So a few days ago I requested all of you to send me some questions and ask me if you want to ask something, and I'll try to answer at the best. Hello everyone. So many of you send me questions and I've actually made a list of the questions and I will try to answer them now. So I'll begin with that. So first question is by Gulzupa Guy. So his question is how to begin. What's the thought process behind it? Is it technically possible to achieve a good cafe racer look on a 110cc bike, keeping funds in mind? What should be key features one should keep in mind while building it? Okay, so this is a very long question and I will try to answer it in parts. So first of all, I will start with how to begin and what's the thought process behind it. So well, begin with planning. Think beforehand what you want to achieve by the end, as in what do you want to make. So for example, you said you want to make a cafe racer here, so try to study the kind of cafe racers which are there already and see what makes a bike into a cafe racer. So for example, like I talk about proportions in my tutorials and I cannot emphasize enough on the importance of proportions. So sorry, freewheeling gypsies, there are voice lag. I'm sorry, maybe it's because of the connection. So I really cannot help it right now. Yeah, so going back to the questions, I was talking about the proportions for cafe racer. So for example, a chopper is long, but a cafe racer wheelbase is much tighter. So you should keep that in mind. A cafe racer, I mean, a bike does not become a cafe racer if you just put on the clip-ons and you put on a saddle hump seat or something, but overall proportions are very important. So study different cafe racers and try to see what are the important elements and then try to make it in your own way. Don't copy it, but study it and make it in your own way. Then coming to the second part of the question, is it technically possible to achieve a good cafe racer look on a 110cc bike, keeping funds in mind? So yes, well, absolutely yes. It is absolutely possible to make a good looking cafe racer on a 110cc bike. I really don't think that the cubic capacity matters at all. You know, it will not hinder your styling, especially for a cafe racer. I can give you an example. So for example, Yamaha R1 and Yamaha R15. So both of them are practically the same kind of styling, right? But the cubic capacity is completely different. So that applies in your case too. But then you talked about funds, and funds are really subjective, you know. Some funds can be enough for someone but not enough for others. So I don't know what your budget is really, so I cannot comment on the funds. But what you can do is, while building that, as I said, study what makes a bike a cafe racer. So study that and then see what are the most important elements to incorporate when you are building the bike, and then just see whatever your budget's permitted. So do the important parts first and then omit the rest. So that's what you can do. Yeah, I think I answered the question. And after the first question, thank you so much, people. Hello to everybody who's watching, and thank you so much for watching. I'm really happy that you are taking out time and watching me. So I'll proceed to the next question now. Thank you so much. Second question is by Muhammad_Afreed K. He asked how these diagrams are drawn. So I assume he is talking about these diagrams which I post online in my tutorials. This was the Continental GT and this is the Himalayan I already posted. So I think he's talking about these, and yes, I draw these in Adobe Illustrator. So I see what is important in the bike, and then I try to highlight that feature according to the grid. So that's what I do. Adobe Illustrator is the answer. So that's all. Thank you, Sketch Build Ride. Thank you so much. Rohitash Jangir, I live in Japan. So it's around 2:30 p.m. right now, but most of my viewers are from India, so I wanted to keep it according to India time. So I'll go to the next question now. Next question is by _ashik.v_. He asks, are there any motorcycle companies using golden ratio for designs? Wow, that is a very interesting question, and I actually did spend some time doing some research of different company motorcycles and if they're actually using golden proportions. So if you don't know what a golden proportion is, so I have something to explain to you. If you see this kind of an arrangement somewhere, this is the golden proportion. So it's not just aesthetics, it's more about mathematics here. So I don't know if I can explain it to you easily. So basically, if you take a rectangle which is in golden proportion and you divide it in a way that you get a square, so the other rectangle you get can be divided in the same way, theoretically, in up to infinity, something like this. So you divide into a square and again and again and again. So this is the simplest I can explain golden ratio, and then it can all be joined by this curve. So if you see this somewhere, it means that they are talking about the golden ratio or the divine proportions. So golden ratio or divine proportion or golden proportion, it is called so because it is said that if any entity has this golden proportion, it will be aesthetically pleasing. That's the rule, kind of. So this rectangle follows the proportion of 1 is to 1.61803398885. I don't memorize the number. It's roughly 1 is to 1.6. So that means that if this side is 1, this would be around 1.6. So that's about golden ratio. And if you want to know more about golden ratio, then you can Google about it, and there's a lot of information about it. But the question was about motorcycle design. So is golden ratio applied in motorcycle design? So I don't think that achieving the golden ratio is one of the first concerns of motorcycle designers. But I think designers over the time with their experience, they do have this sense within them that what is good balance aesthetically. So I think somewhere that comes, but I don't think that is the first priority to achieve for the motorcycle designers. Then it also depends, the design mainly depends on which country the motorcycle is for, because a motorcycle is not just on its own. I mean, a motorcycle is always with rider. So it's not complete without the rider. So the proportion of the rider and proportion of the motorcycle is very important. So we keep in mind for which country, especially the motorcycle is, because of the demographics, the build and height, and the people are different for each country. So, but I really felt this is an interesting question, and I feel, for example, Ducati Panigale is a very beautiful bike. So it came to my mind that maybe it follows the golden proportion. So I tried to put Panigale with the golden proportion thing. So this is the thing. So I have put Panigale with the golden proportion rectangle, and as you can see, it does not follow the golden proportion exactly. So you can see that I have matched the length, but the width does not, or the height does not match. But somehow it follows the curve. You see, it comes from the front wheel, and then the follows the curve, and tail lies within the curve, and then the rear wheel. So I don't know what to say. It does follow the golden proportion or not, but it is a really beautiful bike, right? So to answer your question, I don't think so that all the companies think about golden proportion when designing. I'll go to the next question. The next question is by Akshay Bagel 098. He asks that changes in body design should be pure aesthetic or it needs to be functional. Which is given more priority? Wow. Okay, so this is basically a question of form versus function. Form follows function or function follows form. This question has been haunting designers since ages, and there's no particular answer to it. It all depends on what kind of project you're doing. But I think for me, function and form go hand in hand. You cannot compromise on one part to achieve the other. You have to find the right balance. So in my opinion, a good design or a good motorcycle is where each part has its own purpose, but each part is beautifully designed. That's what my philosophy is. So in case of motorcycle design, everything is visible on the outside. Nothing is hidden in the design. So this balance is very important. A good design for motorcycle, in my opinion, would be where the functional parts are aesthetically designed. So I can prove my point. If you see the most beautiful motorcycles, whatever you feel are the most beautiful motorcycles, they are actually the ones who solves the best purposes. So I think form and function go hand in hand. Nothing comes before or after. Thank you. So many people are saying hi. So hello everybody, and thank you so much for joining in. I will go ahead with the next question. Next question comes from Shrenik_Galvatron. I don't know if the people who have sent me questions are online right now, but I do hope they watch the video later. So he asks, how can I start for a different bike? What are the main points that I have to consider? Okay, so for a different bike, I assume that you mean how to start sketching a different bike, maybe. So the basics of sketching are the same. I give my tutorials one by one about the studies. So the basics remain the same. So you should study the kind of bike you want to make. And like I explained these proportions in my study, so you can study the bike's proportion on your own as well. So proportions, when I keep on saying this word proportion, but what is proportion? So proportion is the overall dimension or the sizes and the placement. So for example, the ground clearance, the wheelbase, the size of the wheel, the seat height, the tank height, the handlebar placement, the fork angle. So the most important three things in proportion is when the rider sits on it, there are 3 points: the handlebar, the seat, and the footrest, because these 3 are the points where the rider is truly connected to the motorcycle. So if these 3 are correct according to your intention, then the motorcycle will come out beautiful. So consider these points and add the other components accordingly. And if you face difficulty, I will anyways be coming up with more and more proportion studies and more sketch videos, so you can see my sketch videos and then refer to them and then practice on your own. So that's all. Okay, so many hello everybody. Thank you so much for joining in and listening to my rant. I'm just going on and I talk really fast, so sorry about it. Okay, so next question was, the side view technique is perfect, learned it. I wanted to know if there are any perspective techniques you are coming up with. This is the question asked by _masala_papad_. Okay, next time guys, if you're asking a question and if you want me to tell who asked the question, please send in your real names also, so it would be good. And yes, Masala Papad, thank you so much. I am really glad that you learned the side view technique. But for the perspectives, I think motorcycle sketching is a fairly difficult thing to draw. And drawing it in perspective is even more complicated. So my tutorials are currently targeted towards the beginners only. So I assume that most people don't know how to make perspective drawings. So, and I believe in process. I don't believe in shortcuts. So, you draw two bikes and then you are perfect in that and then you just go on. So, if you feel that you have learned the side view technique, please try to understand the basic of perspective, like 1 point, 2 point, 3 point perspectives, and try to sketch. And you can ask me questions and I will answer you. And slowly, if I feel that more people are learning from my videos, I will make more videos about perspective techniques and other view techniques also. Okay, thank you. Akshay Bagel. Yes, I do have a YouTube channel, but I'll start posting more. My YouTube channel's name also is Motoholic Works. I'm on YouTube, I'm on Facebook, I'm on Instagram. So you can follow me on social. I will proceed to the next question now. The next is, how did you get into designing? I want to be a designer. Please suggest something. By Siddharth_Sah. Okay, how did I get into designing? That's a very long story, but I will try to keep it short. So I have always loved motorcycles since I was a little kid, and I always wanted to have a career, something related to motorcycles, But I also wanted to do something creative, so engineering was not for me really. So I was looking for career options, but I did not know that design is a legit career. So I was from a small town, and when I was searching for careers, internet was not so easily accessible for us. So I got into architecture, and during my 4th year, I had visited Auto Expo in Delhi, and there was this NID stall. NID is National Institute of Design in Ahmedabad. So they had a stall, and I came to know that they have a degree in design in transportation and automobile design. So I was thrilled, and I knew that I have to go there. So after I finished my architecture, I went on to pursue a master's to NID in transportation and automobile design. And I became a designer, and since then I've been working with various firms. So you ask that you want to be a designer and I should suggest some things. So if you want to be a designer now, there are so many design colleges in India, and you can look up the colleges online. You can see which college suits you the best, because there are many colleges. I'm from NID Ahmedabad. There are many NIDs now in Kurukshetra and somewhere else, I forgot. And there is IIT DC, there are design colleges in Pune, there are so many design colleges. So search for the college which suits you the best and go for it, because I know that there are many self-taught designers right now who are designing, but I feel if you want a proper career in design, you should go for education. Education really, really helps in getting you a proper career and helping you to work with good firms. So go for education, I would suggest. Hello everybody. Again, Willio_Wild for Fames. Hello. So, okay, now I'll go to my last question. I have taken up a lot of your time, and now it's the time for the last question. So the last question is by Shahan, because there are a lot of A's in his name. He asked me, how do I start learning the basics of motorcycle designing? I think I answered fairly well, in bits and pieces about this. But there are two ways about learning motorcycle designing. If you want to pursue a proper career in motorcycle design, I recommend you should go to a college and study about design. You can do a bachelor's course or a master's course depending on your age and your qualification right now. So if you want a career, go for education for sure. But if you want to learn motorcycle designing as a hobby, or you want to modify your own motorcycle, so notice the existing motorcycles and try to study how they are built. I talk about proportions, to try to study different kinds of motorcycles. And yeah, the learning process is not so quick. It takes time, so be patient and be at it, and I'm sure you can learn. So I've been working since around 6 years in motorcycle industry now, and I would say that I'm still learning. I'm not an expert. So it takes time, so keep learning. That's all. I think I have covered all the questions I got this time. If you have any more questions, please send them to me. I will try to answer them next week. So if I get more questions, I'll come again live again next week, and I'll try to answer. So Rohitash Jangir is asking how we want your stickers. You can go to the link in my bio. You can type motoholicworks.com, or you can click on the link in my bio and you can go to the shop and get the stickers. Akshay Baghel is saying, being an automobile engineer, how can I learn designing along with my engineering? Designing is a fairly time consuming course, so I don't know, if you want to be a designer, you have to give time to it. It cannot be done with engineering, but it all depends on you, because sketching and designing is different. So mind you, I am giving tutorials about sketching and not designing right now. So design is a time consuming process, and you should learn, you should go for it if you like it. Liz Shant, ma'am, voice is too low than video. Okay, I don't know, maybe please check your phone if your phone is low on volume. So thank you guys, thank you so much for joining in today, and I really enjoyed talking to you guys. I know I am the one who's speaking, but it's fun to read your comments and answer to your questions, and I want to help you guys in any way I can. So send your questions. I will answer them in the next session, maybe next Saturday. Same time is good. And yeah, if I don't know, when I was live last time, I could not save the video to my phone. I did not get the save option. So if I get the save option, I will post this video on YouTube so that you can watch it wherever you can. And probably I will write a summary of these question and answers in my blog. So thank you again guys, and bye bye, and thank you so much, and hopefully see you next week. So bye.